McCowan and Shannon back with you, and we are with the head coach of the Edmonton Oilers, Jay Woodcroft. This is the hottest team in the NHL right now. In fact, it's been the hottest team since the month of January in the league. You have to feel confident going into the playoffs with the kind of record you guys have had the last while, huh?
Yeah. First of all, thanks for having me on, Bob and John. Yeah, our team has played very well here. I think since post Christmas, and seen some steps being taken over the last couple of months. We've gotten a little bit healthy. We're still not at full health just yet, but the fellas are working and making progress. So heading into game 83, we feel good about where our game's at.
What do you, Jay? The first half of the season, and you mentioned Christmas. This was a team that everybody had pinpointed after your conference final play last year that you were going to be the hottest commodity in the Pacific Division, and yet there was ups and downs until that point. Can you pinpoint why there was I guess you'd call it a slow start, and what difference has happened since that period of time?
Yeah. You know what? I actually think we got out of the gate 7-3, which is pretty good. But the next segment was 3-7. So that was a disappointing segment for us. I think we started to get dinged up right around the game 11, game 12 mark. Obviously, Vander Kane had a horrific injury, but Kyler Yamamoto got hurt. Ryan McLeod, Warren Fogle, these guys. So four of our top nine forwards were all hurt at or around one point in time. And what that meant was that we had to reconfigure some things and learn some lessons along the way. It also meant that there was opportunity for other people to come in and step up and command some attention. And if you remember, around that time, Matthias Gianmark and Klim Kostin both were recalled from the American League, and both have come up and made great impacts on our team. So while it's not always fun to go through, sometimes that adversity helps bring a team together, and you learn some things about different people. And in the end, we've been real consistent here, especially post Christmas.
You mentioned Evander Kane. And I end up talking about this guy a lot more than I think I ever thought I would. But when you're standing behind the bench, do you get a sense of the personality that he brings to the bench and to his teammates?
Yeah, I think he's a big personality. First of all, in a great way, he brings life. He brings juice to the locker room. He brings juice to your bench. I think he plays the game with the measure of physicality that I think is contagious, and I think other teams take notice when he's in the lineup. He's just been he's a warrior. He's a warrior. He came back early from that horrific injury, showed how tough he was to get in some games prior to the All-Star break. Come out of the All-Star break, he's playing very well, and then he gets injured again and plays through the injury. And I don't know how he played through it, but in the end, we decided to shut him down for a few weeks, let him get fully healed. And now he's back and up and running again. He's playing a real good brand of hockey, but big personality, and he has a huge effect on our dressing room and on our bench.
You guys spent the majority of the year, certainly all of this calendar year, in the top three in your division, but now you have a chance to finish first. Is that a factor? Do you pay attention to that? Is that something that you have is an ambition for you guys?
Yeah. I think we want to finish as high as we can, and because the higher you finish, the more home games in the playoffs,
Sure.
to secure home ice advantage. But one thing we talked a lot about here down this stretch is just making sure that we're taking care of our business on a day-by-day basis. You guys mentioned our record since January, or our record post-Christmas, but the LA Kings and the Vegas Golden Knights have played very well as well. So it felt like, even though you're gaining points on a nightly basis. The other teams were gaining points as well. So it's a real dogfight for positioning here down the stretch. We have, obviously 3 games left that are important for us, and we want to finish as high in the standings as we can. We think we're right there, but it'll play out the way it plays out, and in the end, we're going to be ready for when the playoffs start in Game 83.
I would actually you talked about the home ice thing, Jay. There was a time when you didn't have a very good home ice record. And that's changed. So because your road record's actually better than your home record at this point.
Yeah. You know what, that was something that changed post Christmas. I thought, we had a different type of schedule. We started in October with 6 home games right off the bat. And, I didn't love that. I think, part of a team coming together and gelling, especially early in the season, is when you get out on the road and people go out for dinner together and all that type of stuff. But, I think we were 3-3 in that opening stretch, which, it's nice that you were at home in the month of October, but that means you have to get going on the road elsewhere in the year. But I think post-Christmas, we really dialed in our home record, and the results would speak to that.
The situation has allowed you, if I can use that word, to bring a lot of guys up from the minors. And so you go into the playoffs now, with a lot of veterans, and your best players are obviously veterans, but you have some youth on that team. Does that concern you at all? Do you worry about young players in the postseason not having been there before?
You know what? I think my experience being the head coach of the American League team offers me an opinion on some of those younger players in playoff situations. And one of the things when I first chose to go down to Bakersfield to pursue being a head coach, one of the things we talked a lot about down there was how we wanted our younger players' first playoff experience to be in the American League.
Right.
We didn't want their first pro playoff experience to happen in the NHL. And we had some good teams down there, and they went on some runs. And I think anytime you can do that and help gain younger players some experience, I think that's to everybody's benefit. And then obviously last year in Edmonton, we played 3 rounds. We played deep into the month of June. I think anytime you're doing that, that's a great experience for everybody in the organization. It kind of whets your appetite for more. Some of our youth this year, guys like Skinner and Desharnais, will be playing in their first NHL playoff action, but I think they're ready for it.
What do you tell them?
Yeah,
what do you say to your guys in preparation for this? Like,
well,
what can they do differently, or what should they be doing differently during the playoffs than they did during the 82 regular season games?
Yeah, for me, I don't try and build it up as obviously we have to raise our level because everybody raises their level in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But I look at it like over an 82 game schedule, you're trying to capture moments as a coach. You're trying to capture the moments that are going to set you up for success when the real bullets fly in the month of April, May, and June. And so I think finding those moments in the season, talking about them, and using them to your benefit, I think that's what sets people up. And then when we get to that point, it's almost muscle memory or a virtuous loop because we've been talking about it for so long.